charges in this case are first-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, and aggravated battery to a police officer. The defendant and the victim's mother were in a dating relationship. The victim referred to the defendant as her daddy and considered him stepfather. The defendant has known the victim since she was 8 years old. On December 9th, 2014, the defendant pled guilty to aggravated domestic battery involving strangulation, in which the victim's mother was the victim, and the deceased victim in this case was a witness. The defendant was sentenced to 3 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections for that case and was paroled on April 7th, 2017. The defendant was released from his halfway house and electronic monitoring on June 7th, 2017. The defendant and the victim's mother remained in contact with each other while the defendant was in prison. The defendant and the victim's mother began spending time together after he was released from prison. After dinner, the defendant and the victim's mother got into an argument about the purchase of cigarettes. This argument evolved into an argument about the victim's living situation. The victim's mother eventually left the building with the victim to go purchase cigarettes for a neighbor. The victim and the victim's mother entered a motor vehicle and drove about 10 minutes to a location, purchased cigarettes, and returned to the location of incident. During this time, there were several phone calls between the defendant and the victim's mother, during which their argument escalated and the victim's mother ordered the defendant to get out of her apartment. The defendant left the victim's apartment and headed towards the front entrance. This is around 9:40 p.m. The victim was in the first floor hallway and then entered the front entrance vestibule. The victim then walked out of the building through the front entrance towards where her mother was parked, where she was confronted by the defendant. The defendant pushed the victim into the entrance vestibule and then grabbed the victim by the hair and threw her to the ground. This was captured on video surveillance. The defendant pulled a hammer out of his pocket and raised it in a threatening manner at the victim, who was cowering on the floor in fear. This part of the incident was also captured on video surveillance. Video surveillance captured the defendant again, grabbed the victim by the hair, and pushed her up the stairs and into the apartment, all the while holding the hammer in his right hand in a threatening manner while the victim is clearly terrified. The victim's mother began calling 911 because she feared that the defendant would hurt the victim. The defendant called the victim's mother, repeatedly threatening her and the victim. In one of those calls, the victim's mother heard the victim screaming. One call from the defendant went to her voicemail while the mother was on the phone with 911. In that voicemail, the victim was screaming and begging for her life, saying, quote, "Please, Daddy, don't." Chicago Police Department officers arrived as the defendant left the apartment. Video surveillance shows the defendant run down the hallway and away from the Chicago Police Department officers, carrying a bloody hammer and a knife. Officers chased the defendant down the stairs, but the defendant was able to make good his escape. Video surveillance shows the victim crawl out of the apartment where she was met by her mother, who had followed the officers into the building. The victim was drenched in blood. The victim's mother went to the victim and held her before going into the apartment and returning with towels. The victim's mother wiped blood from the victim's face and put pressure on her knees. The victim was unable to speak and was gasping for breath. The victim was scared, restless, and writhing in pain. Unable to catch her breath, the victim changed positions several times as her mother called 911 again and comforted the victim. The victim eventually collapsed on her back with her mother wiping blood and attempting to attend to her wounds. The victim's breathing was so labored that her attempts to draw a breath are visible on surveillance footage. The defendant stabbed the victim over 11 times. He stabbed her once in the right shoulder, once in the right bicep, once in the right breast, once in the right hip, once in the right flank, and once in the left shoulder. The defendant stabbed the victim multiple times in the right arm and sliced her right forearm. The defendant stabbed the victim in the back 4 times. The victim was transported to the Illinois Masonic Hospital, where she was pronounced dead at 10:46 p.m. The defendant made videotaped statements to Chicago Police Department detectives, which he admitted to hitting the victim multiple times with a hammer and stabbing the victim with a knife. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office conducted an autopsy on the victim and determined that her cause of death was multiple sharp and blunt force injuries, assault, and the cause of death was homicide.